Guys, what's up? It's Christian and Corey from Super Comic Guru 9000, and this is our review of Naruto Manga Chapter 635. Let's get started. So the beginning of the chapter starts where Orochimaru is like over Tsunade and he's trying to save her, but obviously her summon was like about to like blast him with acid, and he's like, no, seriously, I'm gonna save her, and if I do anything weird, you can just melt me away, I don't even care. And he does end up using Karen and Suigetsu. Well, Suigetsu doesn't really do anything there, except bitch with Karen, and damn, that they spend many pages doing that. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back to the fight with Naruto and Sasuke because I didn't even care anymore.
But I really wanted to see them fight.
That is some Naruto fan service I could care less about. But I think the most important part of this intro part of the manga is actually seeing Orochimaru's motives. And you can see that he really just wants to help Sasuke along and see what happens because he knows that everything comes to an end. He even kind of like admits his mortality, which I thought was something weird for a character like Orochimaru to do because he's constantly like switching bodies and stuff, and his, you know, they even make he even makes fun of himself when he's talking to Karen and Suigetsu about he's the weirdest one there, and he like bobbles his head around like a snake and his tongue's out. The whole point is that he's kind of a shapeshifter, and even he's like, you know, our time will come and I'm ready to help the next generation. And that's kind of what takes us into the next part of the manga.
So we finally go back to the battlefield where shit is continuing to blow up. The Ten Tails is on fire from the Amaterasu, and Sai tries to get a little bit of a word in with Sakura, but he immediately gets denied because we go back to the battle with Naruto and Sasuke fighting against them. And this is really interesting because Naruto has the plan where he's like, hey, all of the bijous are inside of this giant Ten Tails, and we need to try and weaken this thing so that we can pull them out. So Sasuke, when it's weak, make sure to take your Amaterasu and put the flame out. But Sasuke's like, you know what, Naruto? Fuck you. I'm not going to do that. Screw your fucking Pokemon friends. I'm going to fucking burn their asses to the ground. And that's what he tries to do, except that the Ten Tails is able to separate a portion of its body away that has the Amaterasu flames on it, and it's able to survive the attack. So after seeing this scene, it just makes me think, like, didn't we just get over the fact that Team 7 has finally been reunited? Aren't they supposed to be all buddy-buddy again? And, you know, we kind of accepted that a little too easily, and that's why I like how they inserted this scene into this chapter, kind of showing that there is still a little bit of a difference between Naruto and Sasuke on a level that might cause them to have a really huge conflict sometime later. This could definitely play into how they're going to fight later on, or maybe Naruto's just going to somehow convince Sasuke, no, these guys are my friends, they're awesome, one of them's a giant monkey and he'll fist bump you, it's fucking great. And maybe that will be enough to convince Sasuke, but I don't know, but I think it's a great way to, you know, throw everybody off a little bit, and it is affecting everybody on the battlefield. You actually get to see that finally we go back to Sai trying to talk to Sakura, and he's like, so what's up with Sasuke? Do you even, like, care that he's, like, wanting to do this right now? And she's like, no, I'm glad Sasuke's back. I trust him. And, you know, she says like she means it, and even Sai's like, you know, she seems, you know, pretty sincere, but her smile really doesn't show it at all. And even Shikamaru is paying attention to this as well, and you know, he's a really smart character, so for him to pay attention in one single panel this week has to mean something.
So we jump right back to the hyperbolic time slugs, and all the Kages have emerged, and they are healed. Even though, in my opinion, they still look kind of like battle damaged, and obviously they're probably shaken up because they were just taken to the verge of death, and then, you know, a big slug came along, and they're like, oh my god, I'm dying, and a big slug's eating me, you know, and then all of a sudden they were healed.
You expect to see a bright light when you're dying, not like a disgusting, slimy-ass creature that's like having sex on your body that somehow heals you.
Yeah, I just see that scene from Aliens where it's like, kill me! Anyway, so back to the chapter. They're all there, and Tsunade, there's this really cool / kind of awkward panel where Tsunade's getting up, and you're just looking at her from the rear, and all the Kages are kind of standing there badass, and there's this awkward, stumbling woman in front of them. It was a really cool panel. And that was supposed to be the end in my mind, but no. Bam! Where do we go, Corey?
Right after that, a complete juxtaposition. The final panel of this week's chapter, we go back to the battle between Kakashi and Obito. And they're not just punching each other, they're not just talking about philosophy and bullshit. They are literally running each other through with their strong techniques. Like, Kakashi's fucking uses his Raikiri technique, and he's cutting right through him. Obito has this giant-ass shuriken that's cutting right through Kakashi at the same time, and that's it. We get no time to even, like, think about this. That's the end. That's the final panel. What the fuck?
So what did Super Comic Guru 9000 think about this chapter? That's like if President Obama did it. You see what I did there?
Gotta check yourself.
Before you wreck yourself. Anyway, so what do we think about this chapter? So this chapter was good. There was a bunch of things in it, but did I think they flowed well together? I thought it was kind of all like, really, it could have ended right there at the Kage thing. I think that last panel almost left, like, a bad taste in my mouth. I remember I usually read my manga chapter the first thing in the morning on my phone, and I usually don't catch all the details because this phone screen's really, like, small and you don't see everything. But when I read this a few times, I almost thought that panel was, like, it just felt out of place. Even after I read it a few more times and I learned a few more details about the chapter, I just, it's not that I'm not interested in that fight. It just felt out of place and weird. And it didn't feel like good storytelling, and it's kind of like they just crammed a cliffhanger in there when they already had one with the Kages being like ready to go back to the battlefield. And that's the only thing I didn't like. But I also think it hurt the chapter a lot, and I think it's a 7 out of 10.
I don't think it hurt the chapter as much as Karen and Suigetsu constantly bitching at each other.
Yeah.
It's definitely shocking to see that at the end because it comes out of nowhere. There's no warning whatsoever. It's just like, awesome, the Kages are back. Click, holy fuck, what's going on? And you just don't really know how to accept it because obviously we've seen before in their battle, this could be just a genjutsu, this could be a ruse the entire time. I don't know how to take it. What I can say is this chapter started out kind of uplifting by the fact that all of the Kages are going to be coming back, they're going to be healed, and they're going to be joining the battle. And then things start to get a little bit darker when we go back to the battlefield, when we see that Sasuke is starting to sort of go on his own little vendetta journey again by trying to destroy all of the Bishu. And again, like I said, this is going to be a great way to set up both him and Naruto's conflict, although I do think he is eventually going to be swayed, because Naruto's very persuasive. And,
Talk no jutsu.
Exactly. But still, the Karen and Suigetsu stuff, I just felt like we didn't need to see that. We've seen them bicker in the past. We know that they just plain don't care for each other.
But that's what they do.
But yeah, that's what they do. I guess,
it's like in Charlie Brown, the chick lifts the football. He never kicks it. That's just what they
Lucy's
do.
a bitch, and Karen kind of is too, but Suigetsu's kind of annoying in some senses. They don't need to be around each other. They just set each other off. And I guess Kishimoto felt he needed to inject a little bit of humor in here as well. All the stuff with Orochimaru, boy, I never thought I would see some, like, Orochimaru bits to make him look funny. Like, the scene where his, like, head is wiggling up in the fucking panel, like, I never thought I'd see something like that, so that was pretty funny. But otherwise, it was a pretty decent chapter, but like you said, it just felt kind of jumbled and almost like a Frankenstein chapter. Everything was just sort of stitched together.
Like, there's some things, we'll just all shove them together and we'll slap the name on it.
I mean, there was still some pretty cool stuff this week, but overall, the Karen Suigetsu stuff brought it down a little bit for me. And, a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh my god, why is Tsunade alive? She just fucking got cut in half and her torso is ripped to pieces. My answer to that is really simple. Look at that one battle with Orochimaru fighting against Naruto when he was in his Four Tails form. He got cut in half. His entire torso was ripped apart, but he used his snakes to bring his torso back together. Is it that hard to think that maybe these slugs could do the same thing? I don't think so. And plus, she's the ultimate medical ninja, so I think she can get a free pass on this one. But yeah, that little panel at the end, as cool as it may be and as shocking as it may be, I don't think belonged in this chapter. I think maybe save that for next week or maybe even a little bit later.
I didn't even want to make that my thumbnail. I was like, fuck that. I was pissed about that last page. I was like, came out of nowhere.
And I don't want Kakashi to die, man.
No.
Kakashi's fucking awesome.
You also know the other mistake? It doesn't show you their face.
Yeah.
It doesn't show you the motivation behind any of that. It's just
there's nothing to gauge except just these two are fucking killing each other.
It might be a log, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm reading that. I'm like, maybe it'll turn into a log.
A bleeding log.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it may, like we said, it's shocking, but I don't think it worked well. It would have worked better in its own chapter with them actually fighting and building up to it. So, yeah, there it is. So, as a score, wasn't perfect. It's still pretty entertaining. There were still some parts that could redeem it. So, we're going to give this one a 7 out of 10.
Yep. Okay, you guys, make sure to like our review. It really helps us out. It's the best way to support this channel. And also leave a comment below about your favorite part, because there is a shit ton going on in this chapter. Mm-hmm. And until next time, Super Kami Guru 9000 out.